Have you ever heard the phrase, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger? You ever heard that, right? You bang your knee or something. Well, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And you know, it's quite interesting because it's absolutely true in pretty much every single realm of life. And I want to take this on more of a deep kind of level here. So rather than just banging your knee or something like that. I used to be quite what you would call a worrier. Not to the extent of what most people are. Like, most people are fucking terrified of everything. Well, I can't do that in case this happens or this or this. I used to get quite anxious in certain situations. And when I reflect and look back now, it's because I was worrying about things. Worry, the word worry, and how I would like to describe worrying about something is you using your imagination to predict the worst case scenario or to visualize the worst case scenario. That's what worrying is. It's not actually happened yet. I'll give you an example. I used to work at, like I've mentioned many times before, at a zip line attraction park, right? So I was the operator, put people in the harnesses, send them down the zip line. That was my job, my 9 to 5, right, at the time. And I got so many people, and I used to love this job for this reason, but I got so many people, fully grown adults, men as well, that would get up there on the zip line, and we're working at height, it's very, very high up. And they'd be like, I just don't know if you can do it, bro. Like, will I fall? Is it safe? Is it going to hold my weight? Because there's just fat fucks coming in there. Is it going to hold my weight? I don't know, mate. Maybe if you're lucky. I used to scare them. But you used to get fully grown men literally scared. And I used to ask myself, because I used to just be going down with no hands and like, hey, just on like break time or whatever. Just having fun. And I used to think, like, what is it that's making these people scared? What is it that's making these people worried? There's something that should be a fun experience. Obviously, an aspect of fear makes it exciting, whatever. But they're genuinely so scared to the point where they're just not going to do it. I've seen a lot of them. And it's because they're using their imagination to visualize the worst case scenario. So this is the first thing I want to talk about. There's quite a lot of topics I want to talk about in this video that's going to help you overcome any fear. Fear of talking to women, fear of taking that risk in business, fear of starting the YouTube channel because what other people might think, my family might find it, he might find it, whatever. I'm going to help you eradicate and actually harness and use that fear to your advantage in this video. So sit down, pay attention, grab some water, make sure you're staying hydrated. You know the drill. So we're going to talk about imagination first, and then I want to talk to you about a little mindset that I hold that stops me from worrying about literally anything. Death, talking to a girl, whatever, going broke again. Like, this mindset that I'm going to teach you in a second is a superpower, it really is. But I first want to touch on your imagination. Your imagination is there for a reason. It's not supposed to be just, oh, you can just imagine things, daydream. It'd be really nice to be rich one. It's not supposed to be there for that reason. You're supposed to use it. I like to see the subconscious mind as almost like a torpedo, right? It just goes towards a target. Now, this is a completely different video. I'm very educated on the subconscious mind. I understand it. And I've literally proven it in real time to you on camera how powerful the subconscious mind is. But it's kind of like a torpedo. So whatever you feed into your imagination, if you do that enough, you'll start to have a physical reaction to that thought. So if me and you right now, if we just sat and close our eyes, and imagine ourselves looking over a bridge that's really high up. And you just vividly sit there and vividly imagine every detail of the wind, feel the wind on your skin, hear the sounds of the cars around you, whatever, right? And you vividly imagine that, how you would feel standing looking over a bridge on the side of a bridge as if you're about to jump. You'd feel a sense of fear. Even if it's not like, oh my God, I'm scared. You'd feel a mild sense of fear. Even though you're just sat in your room. You're not on a bridge. There's no reason to feel fear. You could still make yourself feel that emotion through your own imagination, through your thought. You see how powerful that is? So when you're worrying about, oh, what if the girl rejects me? You're using your imagination against yourself. Can you see how fucking detrimental that is? You're just shooting yourself in the foot before you've even tried. Now, what you're supposed to do, obviously the most productive way of using your imagination is to visualize the best case scenario. So if I ever do something that is slightly scary for myself or is slightly uncertain with the outcome, I simply just imagine the best case scenario. Like if I know that I'm going to do it anyway and I want to do it, but I want to enjoy the experience or I want to get through it with as little fear as possible, I'm going to do it. It's happening. So I'm not going to walk away like a pussy, right? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go down the zip line, for example. Imagine the best case scenario. This is number one. You use your imagination to imagine the best case scenario to make you feel positive emotions, like we said before. Instead of using it to make yourself feel scared, use it to make yourself feel excited, ready for the outcome. Brace yourself. That's what you use your imagination for. It's very powerful. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to your thoughts on a daily basis and make sure they are positive, right? Stop using your own mind against yourself, because you're consciously choosing to do that, whether you know it or not. You are choosing to do that on a daily basis. You can control your imagination, you can control your mind. Pay attention to it. That's number one. Now, what happens if the situation doesn't go how you imagined it to go? So let's say I'm on the zip line. Oh, I'm kind of scared. Oh my God, I'm scared of heights, whatever. And you're looking over the edge and it's pretty high, it's pretty scary, and you start to feel fear. But then you do what I just said there, okay? You flip the imagination, and you imagine the best case scenario. You imagine it being a really fun experience. You get to the other side of the little bridge thingy, whatever it is, the gap, and you survive, and you vividly imagine yourself. Before you actually go on the zip line in reality, you vividly imagine it in your imagination, you get into the other side. Cool, I've made it, I've survived. That's a possibility. It's a possibility you might get over there and survive, right? But it's also a possibility that something might go wrong, as it does in life. Life's unpredictable, it's chaotic. Something might go wrong. Maybe it won't hold your weight. Maybe there'll be a problem on the wire. Maybe it'll just snap. Very unlikely, but maybe. Maybe you're the one unlucky person that it happens to. What do you do in that situation? Because there are going to be things that happen to you in life that are not fair, if you want to use that word, that don't go with what you would like to happen. And basically things are going to go wrong and you have no control over it sometimes. And that is life. I want to share something very, very powerful with you about your own mind and about the human body as well. The human body has a tendency to adapt to pretty much almost anything. Well, in fact, anything. It can adapt to absolutely anything. The only other alternative between adaptation is death. That's it. You either adapt to something, you get used to it, your body acclimatizes itself to the new thing that you've exposed it to, or you die. Okay? A good story I can tell about this, and you can apply this to anything: cold showers, alcohol, food, whatever, spicy food. Like, do you know what I mean? It can be a mild thing, it could be a very, very drastic thing. And I'll give you some examples. I'll give you a real life story here as well. When I was 18, I used to be a bit wild and a bit just stupid is basically the word I'm going to use. But obviously I was just trying to experience life and experiment and just do different things, whatever. And there was one night where I was on an empty stomach the whole night, and I kind of didn't realise this because, again, I was young and stupid, and I've only just got into drinking at this time, so I wasn't really very experienced with drinking. And there was a night where I was on an empty stomach with my girlfriend at the time, and I drank like half a bottle of gin, 40% alcohol, right? And I just fucking downed it, like literally half the bottle. It was a bottle like this big maybe, half of that. Pure alcohol, straight. I'm not a pussy, so I don't drink fucking lemonade with it. Straight alcohol, downed it. Now, the reason I did this was because usually I would be fine. Usually, yeah, it is what it is. I've got a very high alcohol tolerance, right? It's fine. Don't bother me. It is what it is. I'm fucking invincible. Guess what happened? Because I was on an empty stomach, your body absorbs the alcohol a lot quicker, right? If you're digesting food and stuff, it kind of just gets mixed up, bro science, but it gets mixed up with the food. It takes a lot longer for it to actually hit you and get into your system. But if there's no food in your system, you are completely fasted, your body isn't digesting any food, you're on an empty stomach, and you drink alcohol, you're going to get drunk very, very fast. It's going to hit you a lot quicker. It's going to absorb in your system a lot quicker. Now, I drank half of this bottle, 40%, in one go, in about fucking 5 seconds, just bam, 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 necking it, mate. Fucking unit. Don't recommend it. Not cool. Obviously, I got alcohol poisoning. I got something called jaundice, which makes your eyes go yellow. This bit of your eyes makes it go. It's not there anymore, obviously, because I'm a fucking G and I survived it. Somehow didn't die. Very, very surprised. I've had a lot of moments like this in my life where I've gone through things that just don't die. I don't know how I do that, but clearly I'm chosen. So I drank this much alcohol in about 5 seconds. Blacked out, sick everywhere, vomiting, genuinely felt like I was going to die. Obviously I was really drunk at the time, but I was praying. I was leaning over the side of the bed. I'm not religious. Leaning over the side of the bed. Allah, God, whoever. My mate was on the phone. He was laughing at me. He was like, mate, you're a fucking idiot. I was like, Allah, God, whoever, just please don't let me die. I'm not ready to die yet. I've got so much to achieve. I was praying over the side of the bed. That's how I felt, right? Trust me, bro. Alcohol poisoning, being like that, being sick of alcohol will make you turn to God. But regardless, I went through all of that and I survived. And do you know what happens today when I drink alcohol? It takes me obviously I drink sensibly, that's a lie. I still drink wild, but I drink on a fed stomach, let's say. I make sure I eat plenty before I drink. I learned my lesson to some degree. I still drink. But my alcohol tolerance is ridiculously high. I could outdrink anyone here. Anybody, bro. It's ridiculously high. And I'm talking straight. I've never really mixed or anything like that. I don't use like lemonade or Coke because I don't want all those stupid sugary drinks. Alcohol's bad enough by itself. I'm not going to then add Coke on top of it because I'm a pussy and can't down it. Like, fuck it. Straight whiskey, bam, done. So, my alcohol tolerance is now very, very high. Now, the reason for that is because my body realised what happened. It didn't want it to happen again, so it adapted to that level of alcohol in the system. Now I can drink so fucking much, it takes me forever to get drunk. You know, so... Point being, well, that's another lie. It doesn't take me forever to get drunk, but I can drink a lot without it really affecting me to the point where I have to stop. Let me just say that. I can drink one glass of whiskey and I'd instantly be like, "Way!" More of a placebo effect. I guess I like being drunk, but little side tangent. Point being, if you do not die, you will adapt. Your mind and your body will adapt. Same with cold exposure. If you jump in a freezing cold lake, an ice cold lake, for example, you might be like, scared, oh my God, what if I get hypothermia? What if I die? Now, again, the alcohol example is quite interesting because I'm not going to go and preach to you, yeah, go and drink loads of alcohol, bro, because it's fine because you'll adapt. Don't do that. That's stupid. But in positive situations, like, for example, having a fun experience going over a zip line, you know, if you talk yourself out of that situation, you're never going to be able to experience anything. Oh, what if I fall and my leg gets cut off or something? What if I lose my leg? What if I fall and break my back? Even if, this is very, very rare that this would ever happen, but even if the worst case scenario happened to you and you lost a leg in this situation, or you broke your back and you could never walk again, or whatever, you're paralyzed for life, I'm not one for feeding into negative beliefs. So even if I was paralyzed, I'd still believe I could walk again one day with enough effort. I'm just like that. But anyway, even if the worst case scenario happened and you could never walk again, you will adapt to it. It's not over. Your life's not over. You can still enjoy things, right? You still have your mind. You just adapt. It becomes normal at some point. Yeah, it's at the start when you can't walk and you're not used to it, and it's gonna be scary. It's gonna be sad. You're gonna be, you know, probably fucking bawling, you know, tears at that point. Oh, I'm never ever gonna walk again. That's a pretty fucking horrific thing to have spoke to you, right? But at some point on a long enough time frame, you'll just get used to it. It will just be normal. It would just be the new you, the new life, right? It's the same with anything, making money. I was dead broke, no money in my bank account, minus money. Now I'm making thousands. Okay, initially for like a week, it was, oh my God, yeah, this is amazing. Wow, wow, wow. Every time I checked my bank account, it would be a dopamine hit. Just looking at the numbers in the bank was a dopamine hit because I was never used to it. Now, normal. It just doesn't do anything to me. It doesn't have any emotional stimulus to me because I'm used to it. My mind and my body have adapted to it. Same with cold showers. Jump in a freezing cold lake. What if I get hypothermia? What if I die? What if I drown? They're the only two options, bro. Keep it simple. Stop overthinking. Stop worrying about little things. And I'm going to apply it to like more logical examples in a second, like talking to girls, for example. But okay, what's the option? You jump in a freezing cold lake, you die. You're not going to know anything about it anyway because you're dead. So what the fuck are you worried about dying for? You won't know anything. It'll be maybe even in worst case scenario, you get burnt to death, you know, or you do drown, which I've heard are the top two worst ways to die. Even if that happened, why are you so scared of it? In the moment when it happens, you'll be full of adrenaline, so you're not really going to feel it as much as you probably think you would. And then you're dead. You don't know anything about it anyway. You're gone. Goodbye. Game over. Back to the lobby. It doesn't make a difference. Why are you scared of this? You got to understand, bro, life is a game. Life is literally a game, and you're viewing it through this negative mindset, worrying, anxious, scared to play the game because what if I fail the mission? You're either going to die, and you won't know anything about that anyway. It might be a worst case scenario, a couple minutes of pain, but then you'll die. Or you'll adapt to it. If you don't die from something, you'll simply adapt. Now, yeah, it's not ideal, but it stops you from worrying. Are you going to sit in your little dark, dusty incel room for the rest of your life, never doing anything, never going outside and talking to that girl, never going down the zip line, never jumping in a freezing cold lake, never jumping off a cliff into a streaming river, done all of this shit, and just living in fear, living in the shadows, never doing anything, never having any stories or experiences to talk about, never taking any risks, you're too scared? Because that's not fun. It's probably not a life that you want to live, is it? So, a little hydration break. So with that in mind, just understand, okay, even if the worst case scenario happened, you'd adapt. You'd be fine. It would become normal to you at some point. So it's reassuring to just remind yourself of that when you are about to embark on something that triggers a bit of fear or anxiety or nervousness in you, or you start worrying, or you start using your imagination in a negative way. Just remind yourself, number one, Flip the imagination into something positive instead. Imagine the best case scenario, because that is also a possibility. If you fixate on the best case scenario, you will feel positive emotions, you'll feel excited. It's a good way to motivate yourself to do things that are kind of scary. But secondly, what are the two options that could happen here? I die or I adapt. 99% of the time, you're not going to die. So you'll just adapt to everything and you'll become stronger, you become more resilient, more stories to tell, more character, more life lived. That's a positive. So, with that being said, if you are, obviously I'm using quite extreme examples, you know, jumping off cliffs and shit like that, which is all things that I've done, but in the normal day-to-day life, you don't really do crazy shit like this. Talking to a girl, for example, is probably the scariest thing you're going to do this week, right? Even in that scenario, same thing applies. Are you going to die? No, she's not going to kill you. What's the worst that could happen? You feel a couple of seconds of embarrassment, maybe, awkwardness, depending on how she reacts. The feeling of rejection isn't very nice. Are you going to die? No, you'll adapt to it. By next week, it'll be normal to you and you'll be used to it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and again, use your mindset in a positive way rather than walking into the scenario and thinking the worst. You'll probably actually get some more girls. So it's as simple as that. Take what you've learned in this video, really implement it into your brain. Like I said before, the subconscious mind is like a torpedo. It just goes towards whatever you focus on. So if you focus on negative things, if you focus on, you know, I might get a disease, or this might happen, or I might die, or I might break my leg, just all this negativity, you're gonna go towards that. Your subconscious mind is going to latch onto experiences, latch onto information, latch onto choices. You know, when they talk about intuition, intuition is motivated by your subconscious mind to a certain extent. If subconsciously you are focusing on negativity, you're going to get an inclination to make a decision that will lead to a negative result. So the very thing that you're scared of will actually happen to you if you keep focusing on it. So instead, flip that into a positive. Retrain your subconscious mind, refocus that torpedo, as we say, onto a positive destination instead. And let it guide you. Let it guide you to positivity, and just trust your subconscious mind. You as an individual have everything you need to adapt in the situation. Even if you find yourself falling off of a zip line, which is just never going to happen, but even if you find yourself falling off a zip line, trust that somehow, some way, you will find a way to get out of that situation. You'll survive unscathed. Just trust. What's the alternative? Because if it happens to you anyway, you're much more better equipped at surviving it and coming out better off if you believe that you're just the guy that's going to get out. You are just going to survive. I believe, even if the zip line cracked halfway through, I believe I'm such a fucking competent individual that I'd find a way to stop myself from being damaged as much as possible, right? I'd hang on to something halfway through, catch myself. Do you know what I mean? Like crazy shit. What's the alternative? You might think it's deluded. You might think it's narcissistic. What's the alternative? If I'm going to fall off the zip line anyway, if that's what reality and the universe have written out for me, if you want to say that, I may as well just believe I'm going to get out of it. The other alternative is, oh my God, I'm so scared, this is so bad, oh, and then I'm dropped. Do you know what I mean? So just start to think, how are you using your mind? Because this is supposed to be your friend, not your enemy. Most of you guys are using it against you. If you go into a situation, talking to a girl, for example, just before you go into that situation, if you feel fear, if you start talking yourself down, your mind is working against you. And you need to fix that ASAP. And I can teach you how to do that in the coaching down in the description. Highly recommend you at least look at it. Okay, the sexual mastery course is also down below as well. If you want to cure premature ejaculation, erectile dysfunction, your pornography addiction, the list goes on. Go and check it out. I'll see you soon. Boom.